think that we should, somehow put together some educational videos to, reach young adults, and maybe a creative way to put some type of video together to help them understand the ramifications of these, of abortion, and what a woman goes through. Like, I think ultimately, us men, we need to do less talking and more listening right now on this subject, because, what do we know? Like, really, honestly, I mean, the woman is the one that is suffering and going through the, the trauma, really. I mean, I know some, like, for instance, we were talking, you said that, with your first, with your abortion, that, he wanted to keep the child. Yeah. And, looking back on that, you said ultimately you think that you made the right decision by not keeping the child.
Sure. I don't regret my decision. It goes back to education, right? Like, if there was more sex health education for young people, if young people felt comfortable enough to discuss these things with their parents, or even just an older, an aunt or an uncle or older sibling, I don't think that there would be so many, I don't want to say unwanted pregnancies, but, premature pregnancies. I think that's really where it needs to begin. It's not really about pro-choice, pro-life. It's about, like, what are you teaching your children so that way they can make an informed decision about what they want to do with their bodies. If I had known what I know now about sex, I wouldn't have made some of the decisions that I made, and that's what I want to do with my daughter, is just create a space where we can have open communication, that she feels comfortable enough telling me how she feels, if she likes a boy, or whatever the case may be, that I can explain to her, like, what this is, from a spiritual standpoint, but also let her know, like, these are other things as well. If you feel, my hope is that she waits till she's married, right? Like, that's my prayer every day, and that's what I hope to happen. But if that doesn't, she is also going to be aware of what consent means, of condoms, of contraceptives, all of that stuff. She's going to be well versed in, so when that time comes, she'll be able to make an informed decision. And I think that's really the bigger issue. And I don't think that enough fathers are having these discussions with their sons as well. It's not only ultimately we're the ones that are going to have a kid if that happens, but there needs to be more conversations to young men about consent, because that's a huge issue, and respecting a woman, and putting a condom on, okay, like, doing all that stuff. And that needs to be a conversation that needs to be had with young men. That's my perspective.
To touch on that, my situation with my son's mother, she was on birth control. We used a condom. We did it all, and
so Dante needed to be here.
Exactly. And the condom broke, so he was meant to be here. And, what happens if we, don't step up and be parents? Like, Dante's not here, and look at him, he's an amazing young man. And, like, we gave him a chance. And by stepping up and doing what we're supposed to do. So at the end of the day, if you do decide to go forward, like we spoke about before, is, men, we have to step up. But also, I want to bring another aspect, another perspective here. After I had my son, I believe I was 20 or 21 years old. I can't remember the exact age, but, I went and had a vasectomy. I think that more men need to do that, to be honest with you. Like, honestly, like, why are we putting all the weight on the women? And when we can, solve the problem really easily, You know, what about, you know, us making a sacrifice instead of you guys always making a sacrifice? Like, what about us? Like, you know, if you already have children, you know, like, and, you know, I mean, you can also get the vasectomy reversed. I mean, I'm not saying it's 100% guarantee. There's a chance that you might not be able to, but I think more men need to consider vasectomies.
Yeah, and I mean, at that, for a man to get one, it's so much less invasive than what it is for a woman to
honestly
either go through that trauma,
in the birth control,
or to have a child.
Anything that a woman has to go through, a vasectomy is so simple compared to that.
I think they got it down to like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, and you're back.
Like let's talk about that though. You know, I mean, I'm not saying like, because you know,
everybody
if
gets
you don't,
snipped. Let's go.
Yeah, if you don't have a child, you know, you really need to pray on it and really,
well,
I
don't think they let you do it if you don't have a child.
True, maybe they might not. I don't know. Like, they were, even with me at 20. He's like, I usually don't do this, but he's like, I'm going to. He's like, you seem like, you know, you're pretty sure about this, man. So he's like, I'm gonna go ahead and do this procedure for you. Yeah. And I think my insurance paid for it. Like I didn't have to pay a dime. Like they were thrilled. they were probably thrilled. They're like, we ain't gonna have to pay for no other pregnancies and all this, man. Like, yeah, go ahead. We got you. We got you covered.
Yeah, we
bro.
got you back.
Yeah. So you know, I just want, I want men to think about that, man. Like I want them to, you know, let's start. You know, maybe is there some birth control that men could be taking? You know, maybe someone needs to create that.
That's actually a thing now.
Yeah, I saw that, right?
There we go.
There's a pill that we can take.
Yeah,
it's not, you know, there's still some kinks they need to work out. But yeah, there is a pill available to men.
All right.
Didn't they at one point, this was a long time ago, try to actually roll out birth control for guys, but there was like, I don't know, something that came out saying that it was like not cruel and unusual, but kind of something along that line. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense, because then why would we allow women to take this, or have the expectation of, if you don't want to get pregnant and we're going to have intercourse, you need to take this? I mean, it's just a double standard.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely pro vasectomy. Let's all get them. Let's get
man. I'm already got mine.
Yeah, right.
You guys go ahead and do your thing. Dr. Stein, man, over in Tampa.
There we go.
Dr. Stein is where it's at, man. Yeah. I mean, this guy's,
Is he still in practice?
Dude, yeah, his signs are everywhere.
Oh, really?
He's snipping everybody, man. I tell you straight up, man.
You get snipped.
Everybody gets a snip, man. It's like Oprah, just giving it out. You know?
Hey, this isn't the Christmas special yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of his signs says, like, you know, $600 one time or $600 a month for life. You know, what do you want to do?
That's a great sign.
Wow.
More men need to
And now it's even more. That I saw that sign years ago.
Yeah.
For real, they're like that cheap. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really not that expensive.
$600?
Yeah, when I did it, it was, like I said, I think it was like $400, but the insurance covered mine.
That's crazy. That's really cheap.
That's what I'm saying. No, we need
like
to go
you
ahead
said,
and,
it's not as invasive, and it's most of the time reversible. So you know, you're not stuck with it if you don't want to keep it. But
and you can go back and make sure that, you know, you're still shooting blanks. You know, like like you can go bring a sample.
Yeah.
And they will, you know, check it for you. You know, I haven't done that yet. I probably need to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to that age. You know,
I mean, I'm at like my I got an old vasectomy. It's like 16 years old. You know, so
yeah, you just want to make
might
sure.
need to check that.
Yeah, I would suggest calling your boy Dr. Stein and making sure everything's all right.
Yeah, I've had that conversation with my wife as well, because, you know, we had kind of a timeline as to when we were going to have kids, and then at a certain point, because I'm older than her, you know, at a certain point, I've already told her, like, hey, I'm going to go and get this because, you know, most importantly, I don't want to be an old dad. You know, like, I want to be able to do that fun stuff with your kid that, you know, most parents look forward to, or should look forward to, at least in my eyes. So you know, at some point I will be doing that. Maybe, who knows, next year or so.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
What's an old dad? Like, what's your cutoff?
I'm kind of an old dad. My son's 3 and I'm 41. So
yeah,
damn, you are an old dad. I didn't realize that.
When he graduates college, I'll be like 56 or something like that.
Yeah. Wow, man.
Yeah,
when he goes off to college, I'll be 56.
Yeah, I'll be 60. So at that point,
I'm a young dad.
If we're blessed to be able to keep Emmy, so you know, I'll be 60 by the time she graduates high school.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
My son's graduating like this year.
Good for you. You just couldn't wait, right? You were young and thirsty, sir.
Yeah, well, bro, you don't even know.
Oh, man.
You don't even know.
Heard stories.
That's funny, man. But overall, I think some of the things that we spoke on about helping young men realize is in our sons and our daughters having a safe place to talk. You spoke about and also more conversations. Talk about consent. Talk about respect. Talk about protection, as you said. But also, like we need to be teaching our children whole love, and a lot of us don't understand whole love, so you can't teach it if you don't understand it.
So, and being that I'm new to the parenting scene, you guys have a little bit more experience than I do.
Yeah.
Well, all of you. But that being said, where do you find that balance? Because you and I have had this conversation before where you felt like in the past you were just talking at your son.
Yep.
And not educating him the way you should be. So where, as a parent and a virtually this young child's educator, where do you find that balance between being their friend so you have that conversation that's open and fluid, but yet holding that structure where they need to realize that they're accountable for their actions?
Cool. I had just sought some counsel on this topic recently, actually. Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, my daughter's 5. She'll be 6 on the 18th. And she told me like she has a crush, and like, oh, I'm just like, what?
What's that dude's name again?
Down. Yeah, right.
So it's Roger, right?
Roger.
But now she has a new one, Daniel.
He's already in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Daniel and Roger,
Wow. So she moved on from Roger?
He's like still on the back burner, but Daniel's like
got
the
you.
one.
Okay.
Daniel's a little more swaggy than
Daniel's.
Yeah.
Watch out for those guys. Watch out for those
I was like,
swaggy
okay,
dudes,
like,
man. Especially when they're young, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't trust no young swaggy dude, man.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
They learned it from their father, probably.
Most likely. Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough, like, because like I mentioned, I didn't feel like I had a space to really express myself and in regards to like boys and relationships or even friendships. My mom is much older than me, so she adopted me. She was about 40.
Props to your mom, by the way, for
she's great. She's a great woman. She's just much older, and she grew up in the South in the 40s. She's a black woman, so she lived having to survive, so she grew up very tough. They didn't have a lot of space to be emotional. They just had to
just work through it.
Just work through it. And so she was I've only seen my mom cry twice, and that was both at funerals. So she was really tough in regards to that. So I never felt like we can really communicate in that way. So what I've tried to do with my daughter is just be more open and try to understand her perspective. I actually apologize to her if I, do something that, maybe wasn't warranted, or maybe I overreacted or something like that. Because as parents, there's so many things going on. And if your kid does something, it's kind of like, I'm not yelling because of you. I'm yelling because of all these other stressors that are happening. So I'm definitely quick to apologize to her if I feel like maybe I've overreacted in regards to discipline or something like that. But I just we have time together. Like every Friday we have movie nights. Like I take her out. Like I ask her about her day, and I ask her very specific questions. Like, so what happened today? What did you eat for lunch? Like I had read somewhere that you shouldn't ask your kids, how was your day? You should ask them specific questions. Because if you ask them how was your day, they'll just say good, or it was fine. As opposed to just having more
you gotta dig a little deeper.
It's open-ended,
tell me about your day.
Yes, exactly. Like what happened, or how's your friend, or whatever. So having a relationship like that now at 5, and the fact that she even is comfortable enough to tell me about these said crushes, I feel like I'm doing a good job at that. I just want to create a space where she can communicate with me and I still don't know how to respond. I'm still learning how to respond to stuff like that, but I'm just keeping it open right now because I don't really know what to do. But I think the best bet is just to spend time with them. Like, you know, have certain days where they know that we're going to do something like, oh, on this day, we're always going to get ice cream after school, or we're always going to have movie nights on this day, or, you know, something that
Something
they can
to look forward to.
Yeah, something to look forward to. Like every Friday, she's like, all right, it's movie night. It's my turn to pick, or it's your turn to pick. Like,
So taking that step virtually to make yourself relatable to your
yeah,
child. Yeah.
and available,
Yeah.
you know, and not like, obviously I'm the parent and she's a child, but there's moments where she's seen me be sad. You know, there's moments where she's seen me like maybe a little bit overwhelmed, and I think it's important for kids to see their parents in that way so that they understand, like, my parent is a human. You know, they're a person with real feelings, and I think when they can see that, they can relate to that and be able to communicate to you like how they feel. But I'm still learning, you know.
I would say most importantly, man, listen to your children. You know, like I think a lot of, and like I was telling you the other day, is like I would like always tell my child what he needs to do and where he needs to go, you know, when I should be really listening and trying to understand him and like paying attention to like his strengths and his weaknesses. So like I would say like pay attention to what he's talented at, or what she's talented at, or what she's not, you know. And you know, time, obviously, like Sade said, time is very important, and that's something that, you know, for me, you know, I was working a lot of hours at the Postal Service and coaching football and all that, and I was so involved in all these other things that it was taking away from time that my son needed, you know, and I didn't realize that. So, you know, being present, you know, and being present is more than just being there. You have to be conscious, you know, like, and if you're plugged into all these different things, or you're working a lot of hours, you know, I'm not saying that you do this at all. I'm just talking to other fathers out there. Like, if you work a lot of hours, or you're plugged into football, like what, you know, you're not really conscious to what your child needs. You know, you need to be plugged into the child and your family. You know, all these other distractions, man, be careful, because they'll start pulling you away from the main focus, which is your child. So, and then on top of that, like, you know, just being consistent, you know, and I think that's something I'm learning now that I'm older, is just being, you know, if I, you know, like having routines, like having something to look forward to, you know. Like every week now, me and my son are going to church. I look forward to that, and I tell him how much I look forward to that, you know. But the main thing, man, and like is listening to your child. That's the only way to learn, is to listen. If you don't ever listen, you'll never learn. So, like, you know, we can all learn from each other, and sometimes we learn from our kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of times. I mean, honestly, that's why we have children, because we're supposed to learn from them.
Because, you know, they think so, like, I don't want to say basic, but very simplistic, right? Life to them is very simple.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
So
They haven't made it complicated
it's
yet.
more
Yeah,
pure.
right.
It's a pure
So
thought.
when she says
There we go,
things,
pure.
and I'm
I like
just
that.
like,
Mhm.
oh, you know what? You're right.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think about that like that, but it makes so much sense.
Good old
you
KISS
know?
method. Keep it simple.
Is the 1S or the 2S?
Well, you
Super
know,
simple?
I go with
Super
the 1S.
simple.
I go with the 1S because I don't want to, like, you know,
Keep it on the positive.
yeah, keep it
Yeah.
positive. I
Okay.
don't want to, you know,
Fair.
keep it simple, shorty. I don't know.
Yeah, keep it super simple.
Oh, keep it super simple. I like
That's
that.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Look at you.
Done.
All right, let me add that. KISS. Keeping it. Yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. Like, Sade is also a rapper.
Oh, here we go.
You know. Yeah. I'd like to tell the audience, like, how we met. You know, like, I'd really like to get into that. And if you don't mind, is that okay? Can I switch tracks here?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay, so how I met Sade was my brother-in-law and my sister, which are here right now. Are they in the shot?
Yep, they are in the shot.
Yeah, and they have a video production company called Eternally Faithful Productions, and they were going to this law office to do some photos for the office. and law office, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, help me out here.
So I had started working for a law firm, and they needed professional headshots for the website. So, one, I also love them as well, Brandon and Jennifer. So, I moved down. So I moved down here from Long Island, and I brought my, little hoopty with me, and I've been having some car issues. So when the law firm told me about the Brandon and Jennifer, I saw where their studio was, and it was about 40 minutes from where I live. So I reached out to them. Brandon was like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, if you have car issues, I know a guy." And like, he put me on three-way immediately with the shop. Got me in there, and like, I was blown away by how nice he was. Like, it was just, I mean, I'm from New York, so it's like, it was very rare.
Up there, like, yeah, man, no.
Just like super like something that I thought was like, I don't know, that really just was like, I really like these people.
Yeah, it
so
says
then,
a lot about people.
Right?
Yeah.
And like immediately,
You
like,
can tell a Christian by their fruit.
exactly. It was just, that's it right there. So then he said, we'll come to your home if that's okay. And so we did the photo shoot at my house, and Jennifer and I were talking, and I forgot how like adoption came up, and we were both adopted. And then I told her about my book, and she's like, "Oh, my brother, like he's, starting out with poetry, and you guys should connect and all this stuff." So she bought 2 of my books, side pieces. And so one for herself and one for David. And then after David read the book.
Well, I'm going to come in here now.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, don't tell my part.
Tell them the other stuff. Okay.
So no, my sister gave me this book, and I looked at it, the front of it. I was like, oh, it's pretty cool front, whatever. But I was in the transition of moving, and I hadn't got a chance to like really read it. Like, it took me, I don't know, a couple weeks or something like that. And once I opened it, I was like, man, let me read this book, So like, I started reading it, and it was a short, simple read, and I like that, because I'm not really big about like long novels and all that. Like, I'm an audio learner, so when I read the book, it just really hit home, because obviously, it was seeing the perspective of what I was doing to women from a different perspective, with side pieces. Obviously, I had side pieces, and and all that jazz. So but the book really just it just hit home, and I was like, wow, this is really, really good. I mean, I don't want to share the story because I want people to purchase the book, but it's a really good short read, and it kind of gives you the results of doing that kind of stuff. Like, you kind of see it from a couple different angles.
I read through a couple pages when she first got here, and just the little bit that I read, I even looked. We had a side conversation, about like how some of the items that are in there, they're just very impactful. So
yes.
For those that get the opportunity to buy the book, definitely suggest that you guys go ahead and just pull out that wallet. Yeah.
I've bought a couple copies. I've given them out to people, and a lot of people can relate to the book. That book has been very powerful because, after I read the book, somehow me and Sade connected. I can't remember if we either did you reach out to me or I reached out to you, something like that?
Yeah, on Instagram.
Oh, okay, on Instagram. And then we said, hey, let's go grab some coffee. So we ended up at this coffee shop called Coffee Speaks and Tea Talks. I've spoke about it here before. And we sat down and we spoke about the book, and I told her how great it was, and we sat there and we talked for a couple hours. And then she said, later this week I'm going to be performing at this shop. Would you like to come, see me? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I came back later that week. I watched the show. Then afterwards, I met the curator, which is Rebel Poet. Yeah. And we exchanged information. And then Rebel Poet went on to my Instagram, and she saw a video that my brother and my sister had did a couple months prior to where I did a poetry video for my son walking through the woods with him. And she loved it. And she was like, you know, she hit me up and she's like, yo, would you want to come out to this shop and, you know, speak one night? And I was like, yeah, I would love to. She's like, I really love that video that you did with your son, with, you know, credit to Eternally Faithful Productions. I mean, like
great production.
Yeah, they pushed me to do it. We did it. And then next thing you know, like, you know, I was doing poetry shows, you know, and I'm speaking and I'm doing these open mics. So like that book really led to a lot of stuff.
I mean, you even got John to get up there at least once, right?
Oh yeah, John did some poetry, you know, like, yeah, it's, I mean, you know, so many things have come from that one meeting, you know, and then me and Sade built like a great friendship, you know, and we've kind of like bounced ideas off of each other, helped each other out through a lot of hard times, you know, talking to each other, like keeping each other motivated. And, you know, I'd say, you know, she's one of my good friends. You know, so I'm glad to have her on here. And like, you know, I would like, you know, recently I went to a book fair around the corner at the Oxford Exchange, beautiful place down in downtown Tampa. And she was, how would you say, you were promoting your book and selling your book there? And
every year the Oxford Exchange actually has a book fair for local authors. So you like sign up you apply essentially, and then they pick, it was about 35 authors this time. So I was approved and I was there selling my book, and I think I was the only poet actually. Most of the books were like novels or collections of short stories and memoirs, stuff like that. Self-help books. It was a lot of self-help books. But yeah, it was an awesome experience. I mean, I love the Oxford Exchange. It's
such a beautiful place, man.
So
it
nice.
Really is.
It really is. And there's so many things going on there too. Like they have a bookstore in the front, they have the restaurant on the side, then they have like a coffee and tea shop in the middle. Then they have a random gift shop in the back. Oh, there's a champagne.
Have you been there, Tom?
No, I've never been.
Oh,
I've
you
only
gotta
heard
take
about
the
it.
wife.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
It's cute. She would like it.
All right.
Yeah.
When you come over that way, we need to hit that up one day. You know, just slide through there.
I mean, I'll have to bring the wife for sure.
For
because
sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
She finds out I go to a place like that and don't take her.
Oh, she's got to come, yeah.
Yeah,
coming
she would
home.
appreciate
There's a bookstore
it.
in there, nice restaurant, all
Yeah.
that jazz.
It's a lot of good stuff, and it's nice. I like it.
Yeah,
A lot of people
definitely.
have weddings there too. It's like people have like weddings and different events. Like they'll rent out the space.
So I'm a little curious here with the story because with what you had led out to before about the aspect of you being a rapper. So I'm kind of curious as to where we're going to go on that.
She's going to spit for us today, so that's going to be pretty.
Oh my
yo,
God,
she
no.
spits like
This is coming in
yo,
right
straight hot fire. Like,
Yeah.
straight up, dude, like, yo,
No.
we're going to have you walking in purpose, like
Wow,
in like 10 minutes.
It's all
Like,
about being in the present.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Listen.
No, I honestly wanted to see if you could read one of your
I
latest.
can save you. I can save you.
Don't save her. She don't want to be saved.
The food is here. The food is here.
Oh, nice.
So I can save you. We should go eat.
All right,
and
all right.
take a
Right
little
on.
break.
Yeah.
Right on. Let's do it. Let's take a little break.
Ooh, saved by the people.
Saved by the. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can catch all of our episodes on YouTube and Spotify at Better Gents Podcast, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Better Gents Pod. Thank you and take care.